Hello everyone, I'm your host Xinhang. Before we start, I want to ask you guys this simple question. Is a home with children a home if there are no children? What is home? So, as you can see, today I'm going to talk about China's fertility rates, marriage rates drop problem. Here is a table of content. So first, I will explain the reason why I choose this problem, and I will give some the definition about this problem. Then I will explain why this presentation is audience focused. So basically explain why you guys might interested in my presentation. Then I will give some data support and talks about my peer reviewed resource peer review resource choice I choose from library. So let's begin. As a 22 years old Chinese student, my friends and I talk more often about China's fertility rates and marriage rates problem than the last year. Because this year's China have been hitting a lower point on the fertility rate than the last year. When I talk about this question, I think about the characteristic of this generation. I think about you guys might interested in and help me out through this presentation. Because the US and other countries who has fertility rate lower than 2 in the world is facing this serious problem too. For me, I'm still trying to figure out a way to address this problem. This problem is very complicated, and I'm willing to listen to my audience views on the values, sex, gender, marriage, and the individual benefits. So here is some here is some abstract and definitions. The total fertility rate is TFR and the net reproduction is NNR. The proportion of married women is PMW and the marital fertility rate is MFR. You guys can also pause this video to look up the definitions. So the target population. So in macro aspect, this problem is facing to our generation and the younger generation. But today, I'm going to be specific about this problem. So here's problem only facing to the Chinese student. So the situation for the target population is not optimistic. It is very common today. Young couples voluntarily avoid having more children in response to economic and social pressures, and they are more likely to pay more attention on their personal career and life goals. Here we are going to talk about the population development of China. So in 1989, China's NRR is 1, which is good, but China's NRR in 2000 is lower almost 60% than 1989. Between 2000 and 2010, NR has been constantly dropped too, and the delay of marriage also make NR even lower. City size and countryside NR has been lower than before. Here is my data support for the population development. So here is some cultural aspect of dating and marriage. In Confucian ideologies, parents in China expect their children to get marriage for traditional purpose. 传宗接代 means the family's blood and the name should pass to the next generation. Now, not forming a new family can become a social pressure on male adults. When or on the other hand, on the woman aspect, I want you to know how many of you heard the word leftover woman, because this word is much more common right now than 10 years before. Nowadays, Many college graduated women in China has choose to fight for a better position in the office rather than getting married and having children. In stereotype, many parents and grandparents in many parents and grandparents stereotype, they think their daughter should carry at least one birth before they are getting 30 years old, and they are too old and not able to get pregnant. Many parents will blame them for not processing their responsibility to have children and give them the title of leftover woman, despite their success and happiness in the career. So, what schools can do? This is actually an idea provided by US College Project that suggests that schools can be a good platform for students to critically think about sex and marriage. It is a good media for governments to propaganda the benefits of getting children and getting marriage and get the right information before they starting a family. So in summary, we cannot wait for another 10 years to see the population goes down, and it will cause more problems in the future such as productive problem, aging population problem, and so on. In my opinion, Chinese schools can have a great start on propaganda information and the situation of fertility rate and marriage rate. Thank you for your listening.